Hey crafters, welcome to another episode of Maymay Made It. Today we're going to be making a tag journal. Now it sounds like I'm going to be making the journal out of tags, but I'm not. I'm going to be using the shape of a tag to inspire the project. So let's get started. What you're going to need first, if you're working with a double-sided paper, you won't need but half this many. But my paper is single-sided with the pattern, so I've cut 6 pieces at 3.5 by 3.5 inches. So then you're going to need 3 sheets of decorator paper, and these 3 sheets are what are going to be the pockets inside of our tag journal, and these need to be 4 inches by 11-inch strips. This is going to become the binding of our journal, and this strip is going to need to be 3 3/4 by 12. And then this will be the actual cover of our tag shaped journal. And this needs to be 11 by 4. I'm going to be scoring this in 2 places today. The first score line is going to be 4 1/4. Right there. Now with chipboard you might want to go slow because you can easily get off in the middle of your scoring. And then we're going to score it at 5 1/4. So 2 score lines, and that's going to be it. That's going to create a 1-inch piece for our book. So I'm going to be using my Close to My Heart Versamat because it has these diagonal lines here for me, which makes this really easy. And I'm going to use these little points right here to make this happen. So I'm going to lay my card or my chipboard onto my board where I have the shape that I want of my tag to be here. And then I'm going to look over and see. I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to make sure that's the shape I want in the middle. That seems a little small for me, so I'm going to bring it in a square. And you can always cut more off. You can't put it back after you've done it. Now I'm going to take a ruler and I'm going to lay it between those 2 lines on the diagonal, letting those be my guide, and using my X-Acto or my craft knife, I'm going to cut this away. So there's one shape. Now let's turn it over and do the same thing. Okay, and that's the shape I'm going to be using today for my card, so it'll look kind of like a little tag at the top. In a few minutes we'll use the Crop-A-Dile to make the little hole, but we'll get moving on the tough part first. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and here's what we're going to do. This is an example of what we're going to do. I'm going to bring you guys in a little bit closer so I can explain this. When we finish our binding strip, we'll have a piece that looks something like this that will go in between the inch piece we just scored on our chipboard. And this will make more sense in a few minutes. What I want to show you is the scoring that we're going to have to do. On our piece of paper that we're going to score, we will start scoring at the 4-inch line. This will be the 4-inch mark on the Martha Stewart scoreboard. And then we'll do a 1/4 inch score here. And then these 2 peaks will be 1/2 inch each. And we're going to do that all the way down. 1/4, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/4, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/4, all the way down. And since I've shown you this, what I'm going to do on the scoreboard, I think will make more sense. I'm going to lay my piece of paper here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start scoring. Now the first score line is going to be at the 4-inch mark like I just showed you. So we're going to take our stylus or your bone folder, whichever one, and you're going to score at 4 inches. And that is going to be the inside cover of our book. Now we want to move over 1/4 inch and score. And that was that first quarter I showed you. Now we're going to move in on 1/2 inch intervals. So we were here, we want to go 1/2 inch, we're going to go 1/2 inch over and score, 1/2 inch over and score. This will be our fold. This is sort of a mountain valley fold, so this will be a mountain fold. Now from that point we want to go over 1/4 inch. So now we have the 1/4, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/4. You want to repeat that 1/2 inches or 1/2 inch. Once you finish this, to be able to check your work, you should be between 4 and 8 inches on your scoreboard. This is going to be the binding in the middle. Now when I fold this, this will make more sense. You'll just have to take your time on this piece to make this one work. Now we're going to begin to fold. I'm going to show you on the back side, so I think you can see the score lines better on the back side. And now we're going to fold. This first piece is going to fold upward, because again, this is going to be what attaches to our book. This next section is the 1/4 inch, and we're going to fold it back on itself, leaving us a 1/4 inch flat spot. Then these pieces are going to fold back on themselves. And you'll just keep doing this all the way down. And what I want to do is show you this once we have it finished. All of those 1/4 inch pieces that we scored end up on this side. This is where we'll be placing our adhesive for the book. All the 1/2 inch pieces that we score end up on this side. And these pieces will become our binding for our pages. So now when I hold this like this should make more sense based on that drawing. So we're going to close it back up like this. I'm going to bring my cover back into the picture, and now it's time to do the folds on those pieces that we scored. You can use a bone folder here if you want to get it really crisp, but you know, this chipboard folds pretty good. And I do want it to have a little bit of body because I want it to kind of open whenever we undo the closure. So see, you can see how that's going to be the shape of a tag, and it's going to open like a book. How cute is that? Okay, so I'm going to lay this here. Now I'm going to bring this piece back in, and closing this down where my 1/4 inch score pieces are showing on this side, I'm going to just use my ATG gun, and I'm going to put adhesive all along this section. You want to bring your tag shape back in. You want to use this piece with the adhesive side down. You're going to center it inside of your tag shape, and you want to place it right on the other side of that score line so you have some room for it to fold, and then place that down. Now once you do this, you'll see that your 1/2 inch folds, and let me turn it sideways, now become your binding holders. Isn't that neat how that just works out? You just have to take your time on that scoring, and remember that each one of these folds here, which are actually a 1 inch fold, but it's scored at 1/2 inch, has to have a 1/4 inch between it for this to work. Okay, so now run some ATG on this piece. Once you practice with this, it comes together pretty easy, and it makes a really cute gift, or even put on a gift. I think it'll be precious. So I'm going to lay this down and see how now that is the inside of the cover, the inside back cover. We'll flip these over, pull this piece back, and do this one the same way. Okay, so that becomes, if you look at it this way, this is the tag. If you look at it from the side, you can see our little pieces for the binding, and you can see the width of the book. Now let's make the pockets for these little guys. This is a lot of fun. You're going to bring those 11 inch strips back in. We'll move this out of the way. This is the strips for the inside pockets that is 4 by 11, and we're going to need our scoreboard again. Now on the scoreboard, what I learned was the first score line I'm going to do, these numbers aren't going to match up exactly, and I'll show you why when we fold it. But on this piece, your first score line is going to be 3 3/4. So you want to score it 3 3/4. Your next score line on here will be 7 5/8. So you're going to count 5 notches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and score. And then you'll be ready. So I'm going to go ahead and score my other 2 pieces. Now that these are scored, it's time to make pockets. You want to look on the back side, and you're going to have one piece that's a little shorter than the other piece. That shorter section where we did the 3 3/4, that's the one you want to fold in first. And see how it leaves a little space? And then this side is the one you want to fold in next. The reason we do this is we get a good fold on our pocket, and we don't have any bubbling of the pocket or warping of the pocket. So for adhesive, you want to run it down this side on that inside piece that's going to seal it shut, and this side, leaving the bottom and the top open. And this is our first pocket. So we're going to repeat that with the other 2 pieces. So bringing our book back in, we have our little pieces here that are sticking up, which are really hard to see on this paper. I should have used a different paper for this, but I have 3 pieces. Now you understand what's going to happen here. Whenever you pop this open, we're going to put it right on top of these guys. And they just kind of sandwich, and that becomes our little pocket page. So here's what you do. You're going to run your adhesive on the inside and the back side of that flap. You may want to use like a liquid adhesive for this. For the purposes of the video, I'm using the ATG, but you'll see what happens. When I put it on both sides, I have to kind of lift it off that other one. But as long as I don't press too hard, it's not too bad. So now again, just let me show you like this. Let's see if this works easier. I'm going to turn it sideways. I'm going to place this open into the pocket across that flap. And watch how it'll just go, that flap goes right inside. Well, now that I'm trying to show you easy. The flap goes inside. You want to press this all the way down, adhere that bottom, and I'll show you what we did. So we took that little flap and put it inside our pocket. And now it looks like that. So that flap becomes what holds our little pocket in place. And you're going to repeat that for all of these. Okay, now what you'll see is once we sandwich those little pieces inside of those pockets, we end up with 3 nice clean pages. You want to make sure you have these adhered down really good to that flap on the bottom, but they flap so nice now. Isn't that cute? I love this little project. And then when you close it back up, you can see they're all inside of your tag shape. And now nothing's left to do but the pockets for the inside. The first thing I want to show you is what I like to do on these pockets is cut out a little half moon at the top so my tag inside will show well. And I'm going to use my 1 3/4 inch punch for that. You don't have to use one quite this big, but I like this one. So what I do is I flip this punch over. And my punch has these little halfway marks on the side of it, these little tick marks. You can use that if you want it to be that deep, or you can just eyeball it ever how deep you want it, because you don't have to make it as deep as it is. Your first one is going to be what you use as your guide for the rest of the little cutout. So we're going to do this one. That shot up in the air. Okay, so there's the first one, and then we're going to lay this one down with it. And you want to make sure you pull these together so that the edges here are even. And we'll do it like that. Now you're going to slip this back in using that as your guide. Get to that point where it is, and then you're just going to slide that first piece forward out of the way so you're not cutting it again. Okay, so using that, we have our little pocket tabs, or at least the place where our little tabs will go, so they'll pull out easier. So now let's make our our inserts. This is what you're going to use these pieces that we cut 6 pieces at 3.5 by 3.5 for. Now, like I said, if you have double-sided paper, you don't have to do this step that I'm fixing to do, but I'm going to take these and put adhesive on the back of one and sandwich them together to make double-sided paper. I just really like this paper pattern, and I just really wanted to use it. Otherwise, I probably would have just picked up some of my double-sided paper. Now you just want to sandwich these together. Now on mine, some of the pieces kind of weren't exactly even because it's really hard to get them exact on your cutter or whatever. So I just trimmed those off with some scissors. And now for interest, I'm going to round the edges. And I think I'm going to use the 1/4 inch side of my crocodile instead of the 1/2 inch, just because I don't want it to be too deep, because this is already a pretty small pocket. And I want to have a lot of surface space for pictures or whatever I decide to put on there. And now I'm going to bring my little journal back. I keep saying journal. I still think, it's an album. We're just going to slide these into our little pockets we made. They look so cute. Can you see that? I love this little book. I think this would make a great little gift, because you could hang it on like a gift bag and it becomes another part of the gift that you're given. So now you have decorating space. All of this space is good for decorating on either side. And then you have these little pull-out tabs. Now, let's talk about the front. What I want to do here is, because I do want this to look like a tag, I want to take my crocodile and put a hole here for the tag section. Now I'm going to be sure that I use the bigger hole on the side of my crocodile, not the smaller one. And now it's just time to decorate. You've probably, decorated these things before, but my thought process would be really cute is to kind of run some ribbon through here, put a button here, and just kind of let that ribbon twirl around that button to keep it closed. I thought that'd be cute. So I'll put pictures on my blog when it's completed, and I'm going to go ahead and start working on it now so you can see the finished project, the finished product.